Hey guys, Andy Pickering here. Today's video is going to be showing you an example of how you can fold down loads of tracks that you might have in a DAW session and use the 4-track mentality in terms of like bouncing things down, recording it through analog gear and having like just a lot less to mix at the end. So the track I'm going to be showcasing today is called The One After Me, which was on my Get Yourself a Trade mini album. I'll show you a little clip of it now. This is not me trying to say I want you back with me someday. It's all fine. There's just one thing on my mind. So this was a very Beach Boys inspired track, but it started in a very simplistic way where I did a live piano and vocal at the same time, but just captured with an ambient room mic, nothing else, and then overdubbed a few other things on the 4-track, then dumped that into a DAW, then overdubbed loads of vocals and did drums, ended up with like 16 tracks or something. And then I would take all that, use the plugins and things like that, and then I would mix it through a mixing desk. The One After Me, it's basically like I'd been in a lot of relationships and then the girl would like meet someone literally within a week of us breaking up and then they'd go and get married or something, and I was very like self-conscious. So the song is about that subject matter, and it starts with, it's not me trying to say I want you back, but what the fuck? Honestly, I think at the time I was just trying to do a demo. But it was such a creative time for me and everything was new. Like the way making a record was new. The idea of doing it at home, having direction of just going for it. Now we're going to be folding everything down through the analog outboard using loads of spring reverb and mixing to tape. So I want to show you, how I can take like 16 tracks in the box and just get them right down.
Okay, The One After Me then. So we started off with a piano, which was the base of all the track, and a live vocal, Philly quarter organ, acoustic guitar, bass piano. Got a great bass piano sound on that. So I'll show you a picture right now of the piano. So this was an old family piano, and when I recorded this, it was back when I lived, in a completely different house, and the piano was in the kitchen, really echoey. Piano is not particularly very well in tune actually, and I can tell now going back to this. But I muted the strings with a bicycle inner tube, like a rubber inner tube, and I just whacked it behind, pulled it through behind all the strings to mute them, and I got a great sound. So they're the original elements, and I would have then, recorded those into the computer, and I'll show you that now. Okay, so here is the 4-track stuff. 1 piano, 2 acoustic, bass piano, and organ, like we've just seen. And these would have all just been dumped in, and then let's have a look at what I want to be folding down massively. Is this session ended up at 16 tracks in total, because I've got the drums and the vocals all bust there, but 16 tracks to me, that's double my 8-track. And I'm spoiled for choice with the 8-track. So I did 5 tracks of vocals, triple tracked, and then 2, I don't know why I triple tracked them, and then 2 backing vocals. With me someday, it's all fine. And then drums, which are another 5 tracks of drums. And then the final 2 overdubs that I did was just a minuscule bit of lead guitar there. Just a tiny bit in the solo. That's kind of like a Beach Boys idea. If you listen to Beach Boys, early Beach Boys song, like they'll just have like no lead guitar in it, then randomly in one bit they'll just have like a bit of lead guitar come in. I really like it. And then a bit of harmonica at the end. Okay, so let's get on with folding this track down. All 5 vocal tracks are going to a mono out, and they're going through the EQ, trying to get a good balance. Some terrible mics being used on these vocals, so some of them are super toppy and horrible. And then it's being compressed there, as you can see. And then got some reverb on it. And as you can see here, I've got highlighted all my vocal tracks. And this is how we start whittling it down. And we're getting less and less tracks, which is good. That's what we want. Right, here we go. We've got all the drum tracks now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got a kick drum, we've got a snare, we've got an under the snare, we've got an over the top, we've got a hi-hat. They're all being bussed to mono here, then they're being sent through all this again. So I've just got some EQ rounding it off, some reverb and some compression, and it's coming back down here. So let's get that recorded down. Okay, so there is our nice bounce down drums all through the analog outboard. And up here is all the drum tracks and the drum bus, and I right click and I remove selected tracks. And that is gone. Next up then, I've got some bass. Okay, so there is my piano bass, and exactly the same pretty much. I've tweaked a few things. I'm trying to boost a bit of the low end on the 60 Hertz, but yeah, classic compressing, and I'm just giving it a bit of space, bit of reverb there. Makes things so much easier. Everything just bounce down. I'm trying to find out why you meet up within a week. I cannot tell you how. Okay, mix time. So we've managed to get it down now to 8 tracks, which is pretty much perfect. And then that is going to be then summed into 3 tracks with an extra reverb channel. But let's just look at what we've got. So I'm sending out a mono 1, mono 2 and mono 3 out of my Focusrite, out the back. And I've already made the decisions here, you know, what I want to be grouped together. So for instance, mono 1, I've got the piano, acoustic, and I've got that panned over this way, coming in on this channel here. On the other side, I've then got the bass, organ and drums. See, that bass, piano bass, was always meant to lock in with that bass drum. So that's a nice little group I've got going there. And with the other side, the only other thing I've got right down the middle is the lead vocal. After all, I don't know when, if this will stop happening, it takes a toll. And that is all of those summed vocals. So if you remember, just we've got the drums and vocals, which were like in total, I'm going to say like something like 10 tracks in total, literally down to 2 mono tracks. And as you can see, they're nicely recorded through the analog outboard and nicely compressed, and we don't even need to touch them on the mixing desk. And then the only other things we've got are that little bit of lead guitar, which I've got coming out of mono 1. Wasn't worth folding down something so small. And then here at the end, the harmonica. that's the 8 tracks folded down basically into 3. And now we're going to get slightly interesting and slightly more analog. So I've got a reverb track here. Basically, we are summing to the buses here. So left and right, and then central. So let's forget the vocal. I'm going to mute that because I'm not putting any reverb on the vocal because I'm putting reverb on all the music. So what I'd normally do is send a bus from, say, number 1. It would come out of the bus. It would go through the reverb, come back on this fader, and then come onto a different bus. But I want all the music, and I'm panning the music. And what I want is a reverb of all these elements coming straight down the middle and then bringing in on this fader. But that is not possible with when you're panning stuff, because basically if you send it out of number 1, you've got the information on the left fader here which is coming from number 1, but then the information that's sent to that same fader there, because it's panned, it's going to be less. So you've got a real imbalance in the signals sent. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a bus from 1 and 2, which would be stereo, then I'm coming into a sub-mix of the reverb on the 4 track here. Let's turn that light on. So I'm coming into a sub-mix on the 4 track, and then I'm balancing perfectly back into mono, summing into mono, then it's coming out of this into the reverb and back here. So having this like little sidecar mixer is just the job. And basically, let's play that. So that's my left and right, hard pan then to the right, blended, and coming through here. And you know, you've got to be careful because it sounds awesome, but the whole thing can just get washed out. And I've took the choice not to send this out into any of the reverbs because it was recorded with a little bit of reverb on it, but you know, the track can then start to get a little bit like I'm losing a bit of the punch on the vocals. So that's just going through on its own individual thing. Then we're, you know, all the analog summing, the nice analog effect, everything we mix into reel to reel. And I don't need to touch any of these faders, I've just got everything set. So let's go. Okay, it's mixing down to the reel to reel. Decided to go at 7.5 inches a second rather than 15 because this machine still sounds great on a lower speed, and 15 inches a second's too good quality. Okay, let's play back this final mix of the one after me.
This is not me trying to say I want you back.
Okay, there we go. So that's basically how you whittle down a huge stack of tracks into just easy digestible sizes. You don't need to record out of the box necessarily through analog gear if you don't have any. It's just, you can bounce internally in the box, but it's just, you know, committing to mixing things together and just getting them down to like something small and just doing simple little panning choices. And I'm, really happy with how it turned out. There's always different ways I could have done it. Maybe it does work better with the bass and the drums down the middle, but I think for this video, it really doesn't matter. And it was great to revisit the track because it's nice to open up an arrangement and listen to things you've done a long time ago. I always felt that this is one of those classic songs for me personally where you put it in the middle of an album and it doesn't really get appreciated by anyone. So it's nice to share it with you now and then, rediscover it and just give it a fresh lick of paint with, all the analog gear and kind of go more towards the intention of the style of song with the production techniques. Okay, so if you like my music, please follow me on Bandcamp. That's my main place, but obviously I'm on all the streaming platforms. Send a subscription my way on this channel if you possibly can. It really would help. And also I have a remote keyboard recording service called Pro Vintage Keys. I'm a professional keyboard player by trade and I can record on your tracks. You send them to me, I record them in the studio. I've got the Beatles piano, we've got the Vox Continental, kind of 60s style keyboard player for hire, if you will. Alright, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and the song and I'll see you next time. Cheers, bye bye.